In this video, we're going to configure application app delegate file to let our application register for remote notification. And because there is quite a lot code to be typed, I have prepared it, and I will be just copying and pasting it for you and walking you through the lines that I paste. Okay, and the very first part of the code will need to go into application did finish launching with options to this very first function that we have, and I'll quickly paste it and walk you through this line. Okay, so here what we do, we create user notification settings, and then we've registered these settings for our application, and then we call register for remote notifications function. So the settings that we have here is alert, badge, and sound. And if you want to know more about these types, alert, badge, and sound, you can hold a command button on your keyboard and click on alert, for example, and it will take you to the struct of a UI user notification type, and you can read the comments here about each. For example, alert is the if we specify alert, the application may display an alert upon a notification being received. And if you specify sound, application may play a sound upon a notification being received. So when push message arrives, we can specify which sound to play. And in our PHP script, there will be an example where we can specify the sound name that we want to play. And the badge. The badge is the application may badge the icon of our app upon notification be received. So we can specify the badge value, whether it's 1 or 2 or 3, and so on. So we can go back. Okay, so we register for UI notification settings, and then we pass those settings to register user notification settings with our application, and then we register for remote notifications. And if you hold command button and click on this register for remote notifications function, you can read a description above here. It says that calling this function will result in either did register for remote notifications with device token or did fail to register for notifications with error. So if our application successfully registers for remote notifications, there will be a function called, and I will declare this function right now, and that function will receive a device token which we need to use, and that device token will identify this device with a unique value. So this function will be called if register for remote notifications is successfully performed. So, and once it is successfully called, the did register for remote notifications with device token function will be called, and we will simply print out device token to see if everything is okay. And if there was a failure and application could not register for remote notifications, there will be another function called, and I'll paste it here, and this function is application did fail to register for remote notifications with error. And in this case, we will simply print out an error message. I'll put a breakpoint here next to the line to know if application fails to register for remote notifications. And I'll also put a breakpoint here so that I know that application registered for notifications successfully. While here in app delegate, there is another function that I will add, and that function will be called every time when there is a new push message arrives to our device, and it's called application did receive remote notification. So this function will have parameters, and one of them will be user information, user info, which will contain message details. So I'll also put a breakpoint here so that I know that message successfully arrived to my application, and I can see it. And this is basically it for configuring our application delegate. We will have to add a little more code into application did register for notification with device token, because this function will collect some more information about the device, and it will send it to our server-side script. So let's do it part by part. Well, first of all, we need to prepare device token, and device token will contain some extra characters which we will need to parse out. So let's first run this application and see if everything is okay before we go and collect other details. So let's make sure that we have our iPhone connected to USB cable, the cable that we use to charge our iPhone. And if it is connected, you will see that device is selected iPhone, and we can simply run our application and then see if any of these breakpoints that we've set will be triggered. Okay, my application is up and running, and I see that first breakpoint did trigger, but I missed the line. I set it a little bit off the print, but it's a good sign. Still, we have it working, and the function did register for remote notification with device token did trigger, and we have the device token printed out. So see, there are some characters that we don't need, for example less than and greater than, and there are some spaces. So basically this device token is a unique identifier of our device that we will use for our remote notification scripts on the server side. So I'll let it play, and we'll continue with the rest of the code. So I've terminated my application, and I'll paste a little more code here. So what we are going to do is we're going to take the device token, and then we will remove the characters that are the less than and greater than, and then we will also remove all the empty spaces from the device token string, and have this value ready to be sent to the server side. Next, we will check the application settings. We will check each of the application settings, the settings that we created here: alert, batch, and sound. And if our application successfully registered for batch, alert, and sound, these values will be returned, will be set as true. So if batch was successfully configured for our application, the value will be here enabled, and otherwise disabled. And same true for push and alert. Next, we will need to collect some of the information from our device, and we will create a device object, and from the device we need to know device name, device model, device system version, and device unique ID. And all of this information, device token, batch, alert, sound, and this device name, we will be sending to our server-side PHP script so that it can be recorded to our database. And here I have my PHP myadmin, and if I open my photo app database. Here I have APN devices table. If I open it up and switch to structure, I'll have all these fields that our database needs to know about the device, like application name, version, device ID, token, name, model. All of these fields need to be filled in for this project to work. So let's go back to our function and continue collecting information. The next piece of information that we will need to collect is the application name, and we will read application name from the bundle. So if the bundle display name is set, our app will be our app name variable will be set to application name. Otherwise it will be set to bundle name. And from the main bundle we will also read the application version. And if you wonder where this information comes from, so for example for app version, the app version will be read from if we go to app for app, so here we have identity version, so that information will be read and will be assigned to the app version variable. And about the bundle name, if we go to app, again go to our my photo app and then click on, for example, targets, and then switch to build settings, we can scroll down to packaging, and there will be information about the package, and a product name will be assigned to our bundle name. Okay, so let's continue. And we are actually done collecting information about the device that we need. Next, we will need to compose the URL to our server side, and the create HTTP request to send all of these details to our server side. So with our first line here, we are creating an SURL object, and we pass to that object the URL to our PHP script that accepts all of these details to our APNs. And if I open my FileZilla, so this is my remote server, and this is the APNs file. So this is the file that will receive HTTP request and collect all of these details. And this is the URL. This will be your HTTP, your website name.com, and then in my case, because I'm hosting it on Amazon Web Server, the domain name is quite long, but in your case it will be like mywebsite.com. And then photo app, the name of my folder here. So this is the root folder that all of my scripts are contained. So photo app, and then inside of the photo app I have APNs folder. Oops, sorry, it went away accidentally. Let me go back and go to var and go to www. This is my public folder, and inside, HTML is the public folder, and this is my photo app, and inside of the photo app I have all of these classes, APNs and APNs file. Okay, so and then we need to create a mutable URL request, which will take this URL object, and now we have HTTP request ready. And then we need to specify what type HTTP request that will be, and in our case we'll be sending all of this information as HTTP post. And because this one is HTTP post, in our server side script, like if I go back to NetBeans and go to APNs, so this line has to be either request or post. So $_request or $_ post. It used to be get, and this is why we have changed it to request, so that we can process both get and post. Okay, so we have HTTP request ready, and now we need to put all of these values together and into one kind of query string, but it won't be appended to the URL. It will be passed on to a server-side script as a body of HTTP request. So basically, we first put it as a post string value, and here we have task register. So we're going to register a new device for accepting and sending PHP notifications, push notifications, and then all of these values that we've created here, we need to add app name for app name, app version that we have for app version, device ID. Here we have device ID for device ID, and so on. So we have device token, device name, device model, device version, push batch, which will be enabled or disabled, and then push alert and push sound. Once we have this post string created, we will need to set it as HTTP body of our HTTP request. So, and the way we do it here, we have our request object, and we specify that HTTP body of this request is going to be this string, and it's going to be converted, and or UTF-8 encoding is going to be applied to it. Okay, and this is it. Finally, we can take this HTTP request and we can send it. And for that, we're going to create a task. This is the regular way we send HTTP request. So we're going to create a task, and we need to make it resumable like this. So this task will execute this HTTP request, and when this HTTP request executed, the server response will be stored. The overall HTTP response will be stored in response object. The server response, the PHP script response that will be sent out to our application, if, for example, there's JSON values or anything that our script needs to send back to mobile app, will be stored in data object. Or if error takes place, we can read this from an error object. So, for example, if we have a network connection problems, we will have error object populated with some data. And to print out error, so if error takes place, we don't want to continue, we'll simply check if error is not equal to nil. We'll print out error. This is for debugging purposes. This error message will not be displayed for the user. It will be printed out into console, Xcode console, and we can see what's going on. And then we will return. Otherwise, we will take the data object of this response. So we will take this data object here, and we will create a string out of this data object, and we will apply UTF encoding to it, and the result of it will be stored in response string variable, and we will simply print out response. But our application, if we go to our PHP script, it doesn't really print anything here. So there's not much to be printed unless there's an error that takes place. And this is it for making our application register for remote notification. Let's play this. And see. Let's debug this script and see how it works. It will not work. It will not register application just yet, because there's a few more details that we need to do in our scripts to make it really work. But we will be able to see the values that we collect about the device, and we'll be able to see the URL string and the post string. One thing though, let me change the HTTP address because I'm running Amazon instance, and the IP address changes every time that I run it. So I will update IP address. This should be it. Okay, and so let's run it and see how it works. Okay, we got our application is registered for remote notifications. Very good. So I play, device token is displayed in a console, and then we take this device token and we will stream out some of the empty characters and less than and greater than. So if I look up device token now, so if I do PO device token string, I will see that the value is now looking much better. There is no special characters here, there's no spaces here, so I have a solid device token. Now I'll play it and see the value of push badge. So if I print it out, it is enabled. Very good. So I can just continue. I assume push alert and push sound is also enabled. Yes, it is enabled, and some of it, those the objects that we create, I can also see on the left side here. Those device ID and device version, some of it will be, I mean, all of it will be populated with values as we play our debugger by using these buttons here. So I'll play, device object is now created, and device name is now populated here with iPhone. And I play, device model is now populated with iPhone. System version, I have a 9.2.1 iOS version. Now I get device ID. Device ID is also here. So all working very well. So I'll play. I don't have display name. I should have bundle name, which is my photo app. Everything is okay. App version is 1. Very good. And now I have URL request, HTTP method is post, and I've played this one. No errors. Very good. So I'll grab post string variable. Oops, just need to copy it, and then I'll use PO print out string, and I see that all these values here, they're nicely appended to each other into one query string. Everything looking good, and these values will be sent as HTTP body to our HTTP request, and I play it, and now we will send out HTTP request. I'll put 2 more breakpoints, one for the error here and one for the post string, to see if what would be the result. And I play it now. So error is not now, there is an error, and we can print it out, or we can simply play and see what the error is. URL error domain, or something wrong. We can read the error message here that the resource could not be loaded because of app transport security policy. That's right, because we still need to do some work in our info plist, and application will return from this function as expected and will not continue.